Hello, hello. All right, again, just like yesterday, if you guys wouldn't mind just letting me know that you can hear me. We are now streaming to Facebook in our private Clean Eating by Design group. So that should be set. I'm just going to double check that. Krista's coming in from Washington. We traveled during the pandemic, and we bought a travel trailer and homeschooled, and I just love Washington, and traveled all the way down through Oregon to Northern California. It was gorgeous. But the hiking in Washington and the mountains and everything, just incredible. Okay, I am live on Facebook as well, so we can get started. All right. Just let me know you can hear me. It looks like everything should be good. All right. Welcome to day 2 of Clean Eating for Real Life. Okay, thank you, Krista. All right, so there are a lot of different components to clean eating. And so when we talk about health and wellness and what it means to every individual, it is multifaceted, right? The way we eat has so many components to it. We all have different bodies, we have different histories. Sue, you can't hear or see. Krista can hear. Let me know that if anyone else is having trouble. Sue, I see you there. It might be on your end if other people. Okay, so other people can hear and see. Sorry, Sue. Okay, so we have different bodies, right? We have different histories. We have different thoughts surrounding food. We have different relationships with food. We have varied tolerances to food, right? We all have different food sensitivities potentially that need to be taken into consideration. So what that's called is bio-individuality. And that is why following someone else's meal plan typically does not work. It might not fit our eating preferences, right? But it also might not fit because we all have to really think and work to create the right meals surrounding the foods that make us feel good relative to who we are, which is, there's so many levels to that. So that's why following someone else's meal plan is not always ideal, and it's important to develop your own plan. And so that's one of the core components of my course, Clean Eating Academy. Kind of touched on that a little bit yesterday, but not very much. But clean eating has, like I said, it's different layers. So one is learning what foods are healthier or more nutrient dense, and learning maybe what foods to minimize. And I really stand by not necessarily removing any specific food from your life if it truly brings you joy. And so that's part of the mindset piece, is to really step back and analyze why we are eating certain foods, right? Is it out of habit? Is it because we really crave them and we want that food? Is it because we don't know any better? There's thinking about the mindset and why we're eating the way we are is a really important component to analyze to move forward with healthier eating, if that's your goal. So after we take a step back and we look at these foods and we kind of have a better picture of these whole real foods that we want to eat more of, then we work on the actual meal plan and creating a balanced meal. And this balanced meal, which I'm going to talk about in more depth on Thursday, is optimal for improving our metabolism, for hormonal balance, for stabilizing our blood sugar, which is also key for our kids and their emotional balance throughout the day. And then we look to become more efficient and organized and fine tune what we're eating by listening to our bodies and learning ways to add superfoods and umami flavors. I call them flavor bombs into our food, which makes them taste amazing. It also provides variety. So it's like your sauces and your herbs and that type of thing, because we can take the same foundational ingredients, even if it's like chicken with carrots, onions, and celery. We can take that and make that taste a lot of different ways by our seasonings and our herbs. And so we add variety. There's a lot of ways to add variety. So we get into all that too. But that's where it gets fun, right? And that's where we become efficient. And then we're saving time, right? We're figuring out ways to do this without spending hours in the kitchen every day. And so that's the progression that I take you through in Clean Eating Academy. It's those steps. What are we eating? Why are we eating them? What's going to motivate us and keep us inspired? Then we look into the meal planning and meal prep strategies, and then we make it efficient and fun, and we get organized, and we learn how to cut up an onion faster, right? There's just so much there that takes you through. And it also allows you to kind of join in wherever you are in the journey. Because some people, it's a spectrum, right? We're all learning at different levels, different times. So yesterday, we talked about the clean food swaps and reading ingredient labels. And the point was, I gave a bunch of examples, but we also need to be educated and aware consumers. And I love to advocate and hopefully inspire you to make more foods from scratch. But we're talking real life here, right? This is clean eating for real life. And so convenience is often going to win. Let me just respond to Sue here. There will be. All right. So when it comes to convenience and those clean food swaps, we need to have those options available so that when in a pinch, when emergencies come up, when we get home from work late, or the kids have a bunch of after school activities, that we can avoid those fast food runs, that we can avoid the last minute resort to takeout, unless it's planned. So I fully support takeout when it's planned, right? Then do it. If you're planning for a pizza night, awesome. As long as it's part of the plan, then we lose the guilt. Then we lose that feeling of, I don't have a plan again. I guess I'll have to do takeout, right? So, and we'll get more into that in the academy as well. So make sure you watch yesterday's training on food swaps. If that's, part of your life, which honestly, for all of us, it really is. Maybe not the majority, but it's good to have that as an option. Okay, so this is me. I won't bore you with the story again because I gave you a little bit more yesterday, but this is my family, and these are the people that I cook for every day, right? I guess I should say I feed these people every day, like 3 times a day. My kids I make them lunches to take to school every day. But I have figured out a way to not cook every day, and I still feed them all the time. So that's what we're going to get into today. Let me know, do you have a family that you're cooking for? So I have not yet sent the replay for yesterday. It's in the Facebook group, but I will be uploading them and getting you replays for all of these. They'll be dripping out to you soon. So let me know, do you have a family? Is it just you? Are you cooking for you and a partner? Do you have kids? Let me know how many people in your family you're cooking for. It also makes a difference. I have daughters that are 10 and 12, right? If you have sons that are 16 and, teenagers, it's going to be a little bit different. All right. This is also coming. I'm pointing over here because I have like the screen, the extra screen over here, so I can see what's going on in the Facebook world. So I'm creating a workbook for you guys. I just decided that. And so I haven't sent it yet because it's in creation. I decided just recently that I was going to make that for you. So that will come today. That will have all of the ingredients that you need if you want to purchase them for our cooking class together on Thursday, the red lentil soup. You have lots of food eaten for your 3 teenage sons. Oh, I get it. We get together with my brother's family, and they have 3 kids, but 2 of them are boys that are teenagers. I have to make like more than double what I do for my family when we're all together. All right. So this workbook will be coming to you later tonight, and it will have all the ingredients for the red lentil soup in there, and some actions to take every day. And there's some printables. I gave you guys some printables that'll be in there too. We'll go over those soon. Okay. So like I said, this is clean eating for real life. So we're not going to sugarcoat this. We all have the same number of hours in the day, and we're all busy, right? So how do we find the time? If we're going to look at 2 ways to kind of generalize this and find the time, one is we have to prioritize it and find pockets of time in our day and our schedule to fit it in, right? We're all busy and it's hard, but we just have to prioritize it and actually schedule it in. The second, and we're going to spend a little more time on this second part, the efficiency and mastering meal prep strategies. So we are going to work on becoming masters of efficiency. And so we'll talk about meal planning and meal prep strategies a little bit more specifically today to, again, have some action points that you can take away and start implementing right away. All right. So I will briefly talk about priorities. The reality is that we find time to do the things that matter to us, or our human brains choose to take the path of least resistance. Both of those paths look like paths of least resistance to me. They're beautiful, but maybe one's a little curvier than the other. I just thought it was pretty. But we can take 2 paths, right? We prioritize and do the thing that we put in our schedule, because our brain naturally wants to do the easier, more restful option. And so that could be turning on the TV, calling for takeout, scrolling social media, right? Something other than getting into the kitchen. So we're all busy, but we also all need to eat. We need to eat like 3 times a day, 7 days a week. So, and it might even be more than that if you have younger kids, right? Well, like when my kids were younger, they were eating like 8 times a day. So we all care about our health. We care about the health of our children and our loved ones, whoever might be around us, who we're cooking for. So maybe now is the time to make it more of a priority. And what I want to show you is that it doesn't have to take that much extra time to do this. At first, it might take a little more energy, right? Like the mental energy and the motivation to cut up some cauliflower and stick it in the oven. But it really doesn't take that much more time compared to other avenues of getting food to eat and getting them into our bodies. So I know you might not believe that because it often feels like it's time consuming, but we're not making gourmet dinners here. We're not finding some random recipe on Pinterest and going and buying the ingredients and going through the whole process. We're eating real whole foods and we're making them simply delicious. So I talk about simple quality ingredients, and then with the flavor bombs, you can take simple and make it really good. So the process is simple and it's fast. And I've found from working with clients and students in the academy, Clean Eating Academy, that it typically does not come down to the time that it takes to cook. It's the mental effort. And hence we talk about having a plan and strategies in place to be efficient. And then it gets done. It takes that mental effort out of it, and we develop new habits and make it happen. Okay. So she looks a little overjoyed. I don't know if any of us are that excited, but when we find pockets of time, we can be successful, and you could look like that too. So just like any task, okay, if we're finding pockets of time, like let's take laundry for an example. If you chose that Saturday as your laundry day and you threw a load of laundry in, and then you waited and you were thinking about, listening for the buzzer to know when it's done, and then the buzzer goes off and you throw it into the dryer and you're efficient. So you added another load to the washing machine while the dryer was going. And then you waited, and then you folded, and so on with the series, because you have like 5 loads of laundry piled up, right? That's a long day of laundry. And it's kind of the same with cooking. Like if every day at 4 p.m. you started thinking about dinner and open the fridge, what am I going to eat? And you had to like try to figure it out. And then you got to find the recipe because you have chicken. So you look up a recipe and then you start cooking. Or you had to stop at the grocery store on the way home to like grab the couple ingredients that you needed to finish the meal. That becomes a really long process and a daunting, energy draining process. So I understand that's an exaggeration, but you've probably mastered the efficiency of laundry, right? I mean, efficiently, you can throw a load of laundry in before you go to bed at night. And then in the morning, it's washed. And all you have to do is chuck it into the dryer. And then later in the day or in the evening, it comes out, it gets folded, it's put away. And the same thing can happen every day. And it just happens in the periphery, right? It's not a thing. It's not like a big task that's going to take hours. It's a daily little chunk of activity that happens in these like 3 to 5 minute increments while you're doing something else. So cooking can be the same. And I can show you how that can work. So occasionally I will follow a new recipe and know that I am dedicating time to that, right? That's going to be a big chunk of time, a bigger chunk of time if I'm following a recipe. But our daily meals don't look like that. They're simple quality ingredients with those flavor bombs that add variety and interest and more pleasure to eating. It's the sauces and the herbs, right? And so we love what we're eating, but it is, it's how this is happening on a daily basis that makes it doable, right? For the longer term. Okay. So this is the second strategy. After finding pockets of time to do this, second strategy is to have a family favorites list. And so this picture on the screen is going to be in your workbook as well. And this is meal type brainstorms and theme nights. So this is going to help to trigger your brain a little bit as to maybe some family favorites. I'm also going to give you a family favorites template so that you can fill this out. And so you're going to create this list with everybody in your family. So you're going to ask every member of your family what foods they love, what meals they love, or in some cases, it might just be what they tolerate, so that everybody can kind of be in agreement for the most part. And then you're going to incorporate those family favorites into your meal plan and like your dinner rotation and your breakfast rotation. It's important to have these for the different meals of the day. Lunch for us often is leftovers, reinvented from dinner. And we'll talk about that a little bit. But there's 4 important reasons why this family favorites list works and saves you a ton of time. So the first is, once you have this list created, everyone, you know that if it's on this list, everyone in your family will eat it, okay? And that will save you time. It will save you the mental, like your sanity, knowing that you're going to make something that everybody in your family is going to eat. Like that's huge, right? If you make something and they don't like it and they complain about it, it wears on us, right? So the second is, you know how to cook your family favorites without a recipe. That's a huge time saver. I call this intuitive cooking. So it's like making tacos. We all know how to make tacos, right? So it's those types of recipes. And if there's meals on your family favorites list and you don't yet know how to make them without a recipe, then you're just going to put them in the rotation and it will come. And then it will be the no-brainer, right? You'll just know you always have the ingredients for these family favorites that you get every week, so that you know that you always have the ingredients you need to follow the meal plan. All right, the third way that this saves time is that repetition of a familiar recipe leads to small incremental changes over time to make it healthier. And because your family, because they already love it, because they like to eat it, they will be more likely to tolerate those small changes. And it's important that what we're eating most, so if these are our favorites and they're on a rotation, we're eating them more often. And like we talked about yesterday in the clean food swaps, these are the first items that we shift to be healthier and cleaner and add more veggies in to make them healthier. So we'll talk about a specific example of that shortly. So the fourth reason why the family favorites list is like game changer is because it's a great way to slowly add variety and then grow your meal rotation list. Because right now you might be thinking, oh my gosh, my kids only like these 3 things, right? But if you take those 3 things and, like, let's say tacos. So if your family loves tacos, there's ways to slowly change it to add variety. You could say, okay, they love tacos. Maybe they would like nachos. Maybe they would like enchiladas, right? It's a different twist on the same flavors and ingredients, just presented in a slightly different way. You could also change out if they like tacos with ground beef. Maybe you add, maybe you try shredded chicken or black beans, or even you just add a little bit of black beans or refried beans into the ground beef as kind of like a slow transition to get them to incorporate some other foods. So there's a lot of ways that you can make small swaps little by little over time. Another thing you could do is, like, if your kids won't put tomatoes on a taco, maybe this first step is, hey, how about 3 little diced tomatoes, right, on the taco? Sometimes my kids will be funny and they won't want tomatoes on their tacos, but they'll eat it on the side, right? They could take a taco and totally disassemble it on their plate and have a pile of ground beef and some black beans and some tomatoes and so on, right? So there's a lot of different ways to do this and make it work. All right, here's another example of changing a recipe to be more nutrient dense over time. So spaghetti, right? Our family loves spaghetti. I make it often. And what I have started to do over time, here's the difference between these 2 pictures. On the left is marinara sauce with noodles. And on the right is a loaded veggie meat sauce with, and these are brown rice noodles. So, and I usually mix some zucchini noodles in there. So, so let's talk about how we can do this. So if your family already loves spaghetti, and this will be just, if it needs to be a slow transition over time, that's totally fine. I went live in the Facebook group 2 weeks ago, maybe, and made this spaghetti sauce. So you can find it in the group. And I showed you and I talked through all of the details, but hidden veggies. All right, added nutrition. You can like add all the superfoods into spaghetti and hide them because the flavor is so powerful. So you can add mushroom powder, which is boosting for our immune system. You can buy mushroom powder. I buy porcini mushrooms and grind them and have like a jar of mushroom powder, and I just add a teaspoon or 2 to almost everything. No one will ever know that it's in there, and it's healthy, and it adds antioxidants, and it boosts your immune system, and there's so many benefits to mushrooms. So it's also an umami like flavor explosion. So it adds this depth of flavor and deliciousness to most foods. It's also great for brain health. So, okay, get back to, so if you finely dice your onions, carrots, and celery, making a mirepoix as a starter for your sauce. It enhances the flavor, but it also provides more nutrition, right? Because you're adding in more veggies as the base for your spaghetti sauce. So that's how I always start. The more finely you dice those veggies, they will get lost in the sauce. And if the kids complain about chunks of vegetables, then they won't know they're there. Another thing that gets lost easily in spaghetti sauce is finely diced red pepper. It's the same color. You chop it up finely. It gets soft when it gets cooked, and you can't tell the difference. You can't tell it's in there. When it comes to the meat, if you choose to make a meat sauce, you can swap healthier grass-fed, grass-finished beef. You can swap beef out and instead use pastured ground chicken or ground turkey. And then when it comes to the noodles, you can do, if you want to avoid the gluten or the white flour, you can do a brown rice pasta or a quinoa pasta. We also do zucchini noodles, and my husband and I will sometimes just do zucchini noodles and put the sauce on. With the kids, I've started to kind of do a little bit of a mix, of like half zucchini noodles, and you can buy them frozen, already spiralized for you. Half zucchini noodles, half brown rice pasta noodles. So that's another way to start to make that transition. All right, so here is the third strategy. The third strategy to save time is that every single meal or ingredient that you make should be considered for cooking once, eating it again sometime in the week, or freezing a portion off and pulling it out of the freezer sometime in the future. So every time I cook something, I'm thinking, can I double this? Can I triple this? And reinvent it in a new way. So I do have chicken leftovers reinvented here. And these are just tons of different things you can do with chicken. So we roast a chicken every week. I roast a chicken every week and I make bone broth. And from that chicken, what are some things that I can make? I've got all of these different options to kind of remind me of different meals that I could make from that one chicken. So I take a chicken and extend it into 3 to 4 meals throughout the week. All right. So for example, this week with you guys, I'm making lentil soup. And when I make it, I am going to make a double batch. I also made rice last night, and I did a triple batch of rice because looking forward throughout the week, I saw that we were going to be having more dishes that went well with rice. If we have any left over, and I know we're not going to get to it, I'll throw it in the freezer. Oh, here's another one. Last night we did takeout, and we ordered tiki masala and this Sherpa stew, and both were just with veggies. So then I made rice and I made chicken thighs. And then in the fridge, I had roasted cauliflower and broccoli left over. And so it was so easy to be able to add those extra ingredients from the refrigerator, to add the chicken thighs to what I ordered from the Indian restaurant. And that will allow us to take that takeout meal and spread it over multiple meals. So it takes that one meal, and it was leftovers for lunch for the kids to take to school today, and we still have some more left. And it made it healthier, right? I added extra veggies and my own pastured chicken, and it made it a healthier version of what I might get from a restaurant. So again, we'll get much deeper into this in the Academy if you need extra help and examples and accountability to kind of figure out what specifically works for you with the meals that your family tends to eat. We can dive deeper into any of those specifics. That is also what the Facebook group is for. So if you bring anything to me with questions in the Facebook group, I am happy to address any of those more specifically for your individual needs. But if you're just starting, it's the first step is awareness. We talked about that yesterday as well. We want to be aware of how this could work, and then you can figure out the ways to start implementing it. But what I want you to really take away from this is every time you go to make something, to try to double it. Okay. It does not take any more time to cook one package of boneless, skinless chicken thighs. It doesn't take any more time to do 2 packages at once. Right. So that's a key. Okay. So here's how you're going to take action. All right. Quick summary of what we covered: how to find time for clean eating. We touched on 3 different strategies. One is to cook in pockets of time. So we hear about batch cooking. We hear about like spending 2 hours in the kitchen on Sunday. For some of us, that might not be possible. So where can we find little pockets of time during the week, looking at our calendar, scheduling it in? So we're noting it and we're writing it down so that we can cook in those pockets of time. The second is having a family favorites list. Having a list of meals that you can go to, that you know how to make intuitively. You don't need a recipe to follow. They come together quickly. You know your family's going to love them. And then you can start to branch off and develop healthier recipes and reinventions or slight changes of those to expand that list that you're going to put on rotation. And then the third strategy is to cook once, eat again, or eat all week, where you're going to cook once and you're going to double it or you're going to triple it. Even if it's like you're chopping up vegetables, you can chop up extra veggies for a salad the next day or that kind of thing. Every time you're in the kitchen, it is you're cooking extra. It is dirtying. It's less dishes is the other big thing there. So that's huge. All right. So your action step is to write down 3 to 5 meals that all or most of your family members enjoy. And you'll have the printable to be able to do that, but you can just do it on the Notes app in your phone if you want. And then you're going to list 3 ways to make each of those meals healthier or cleaner or add variety to them. So it's changing out an ingredient to a cleaner option or a healthier option, adding in some hidden veggies or some umami flavors to add variety. So we touched on we touched on all of this, and I gave you some examples that hopefully gets your brain kind of thinking in that direction. But again, in the Academy, that's what we go step by step. There's a ton of videos and we focus on all of that. All right, so the rest of the week. So yes, you can watch the replay. I will send it out in email later today of yesterday's clean food swaps. Tomorrow, I'm hosting a birthday party for my 10-year-old. So we're going to skip tomorrow. She has a half day of school. So we're going to skip tomorrow, and I will come back on Wednesday talking about balanced eating to support your metabolism and blood sugar. And then Thursday will be our cooking class. We're going to make a red lentil soup with Indian spices. And then Friday, we're going to talk specifically about 2 foods to remove from your diet, 2 that really cause inflammation and have other health concerns that are easy to swap out for other options. So that's the rest of the week. Let me know if you have any questions, and you can email me. You can shoot me a note in the Facebook group, or message me, and I'll see you on Wednesday again. All right. I hope you guys have a great day. You're very welcome.